Hi students, today in this session we are going to see about the non-parametric test for one sample and two independent samples. So, at end of this session what students going to gain? First one, the students will be able to comprehend the methodology of the sign test after completing this lesson. Second, they will be able to know what are the steps involved in performing the man-with-new test, and learning and practical exposures will be given by solving the problem using the sign test for one sample, and at last the students will be able to solve the real life problem using the man-with-new test. So, in the first part we are going to discuss about the sign test for one sample. So, in this session we are going to discuss about the what are all the steps involved in the sign test procedure. So, sign test for one sample, that is single sample. The testing of hypothesis concerning the population median is known as the sign test. It is an alternative to the parametric one sample t test for mean. Next we can see about a case scenario, a live example. Suppose if you are a rater for a famous restaurant, you have asked 7 people to rate a new dish on a 5-point little scale. Let it be like 1 as terrible and 5 as excellent, and the ratings are let it be like 2, 5, 3, 4, 1 and 4, 5. So, if you are given a problem in your hand, we want to check it like at 5% level of significance, that is 0.05. Is there any evidence that the median rate is less than 3? Now, we can see about the procedures, how to do and how to perform the sign test, the different steps we can discuss. So, let x1, x2, xn be n random observations recorded, and they are assumed to have come from a continuous population with median let us say as m naught, and we are going to frame the hypothesis as h naught, like m equal to m naught, that is the population median will be m naught, and we have 3 different kind of alternative hypothesis. So, we will be having 3 different conditions, like we are going to check it for 3 different purposes. So, test statistics like x equal to number of positive difference among x1, that is the difference we are going to find x1 minus m naught, x2 minus m naught, xn minus m naught. So, if m naught is the median, then the number of the positive signs and the number of negative signs should be equal, because it divides the data into 2 equal parts. Then S is said to follow a binomial distribution with the parameter n and p, which where p will take the values of, that is S follows binomial distribution with the parameter n and p take value as 0.5. Next we can discuss about the decision criteria. So, for small n, that is for the small sample size n, we use binomial distribution to reject or not to reject h naught. Evaluate the probability value, that is S is greater than S, where S is your statistics based on the binomial distribution, and this probability value will be solved as in take reverse of the 1 minus probability of S is less than S, and we are going to take the probability density function of the binomial distribution, and p will take value 0.5. So, by solving this we can calculate those probability values. Next we can see about the decision criteria for the sign test. So, we will be having 3 different kind of hypotheses, that is m is less than m naught, m will be greater than m naught, and m will be equal not equal to m naught, and we can see the p value over here. Here we can see the p value, like p is s is less than or equal to s, and p will be s is greater than or equal to small s and 2 times of the probability. So, what are the rejection criteria we are going to consider here, where your S is nothing but your observed positive difference. So, now we are going to compare this S with the alpha, that is the level of significance, that is if this probability value is less than alpha, then we can say like it is significant and we can reject the null hypothesis h naught, and second condition will be like vice versa. So, it will be like we will be having condition for less than alpha, in this case it will be greater than alpha, though then S is significant, and same way we have to reject h naught. Then the last condition is where S is the largest among the number of positive and negative difference respectively. So, that is why we multiply 2 times, because in this case the both positive and negative difference will be equal. Next, if suppose we are coming across the large sample, then how to do in sign test, that is large sample approximation to sign test. So, for large n, for example let it be greater than 10, that yes, the test statistics can be approximated to normal distribution with the mean NP and variance NP into 1 minus P, that is nothing but the mean and variance of the binomial distribution, then the test statistics will be given as z equal to s minus 0.5 minus 0.5 n divided by 0.5 root n, which follows normal distribution, that is based upon the central limit theorem, where s is the test statistics value of the sign test and 0.5 is nothing but your continuity correction. Next we can see about the standard normal probability value. So, from this critical value only we are able to find what is our tabulated value. So, how to see from the critical table value. So, for two sided alternative hypothesis with alpha equal to 0.05, that is nothing but 1 minus alpha by 2, that is 0.975, we have to see what is the value. So, we are able to see like is it 1 minus alpha by 2, nothing but the value take as 1.96, which is mentioned as in red box. Next we can see in for one sided alternative, that is the previous one is a two sided, this is for one sided. For one sided alternative we will be having alpha as 0.05, nothing but 0.95. So, that takes value as 1.64. Next we can see about the decision criteria based upon this last sample approximation. Before one what we seen is for the small sample, this is for the large sample. So, we will be having again three conditions, that is z will be greater than z 1 minus alpha by 2, that is for the two tail m naught equal to m naught, and second one is z is greater than z 1 minus alpha, for which the m will be greater than m naught, and third condition will be like z less than z 1 minus alpha, for which the median will be less than m naught. So, same way we will be having a decision criteria using p value approach. So, what we discussed earlier is for the small sample, the same thing we are going to continue here for the large sample. So, in this case also you can see here. So, for first thing we will be having the hypothesis as m will be less than m naught and m will be greater than m naught and m is not equal to m naught. The same way we will be having like if the probability value is less than the level of significance alpha, then z is significant and we can reject h naught. For the second case it will be like probability of z will be greater than z will be less than alpha, again the alpha will be significant and we have to reject h naught. And the last condition is if the 2 times of the probability is less than alpha, then z is significant and we have to reject h naught. In this session, so far we have discussed about the procedures of sign test, how to proceed with sign test, and we have discussed about the small sample for sign test and large sample approximation of sign test, and what are all the different criteria to be used whether to reject or accept the null hypothesis. In the upcoming video, we will be discussing about the Mann-Whitney U test, how to proceed with that. Thank you.